You are now listening to Ride With Me, the Flat Tire Podcast.
Welcome to Ride With Me, episode 46. Today is April 10th, 2021, and today's guest is my buddy, Gary.
Hey, this is Gary. Good morning out there in podcast land.
Podcast, this fool. I met Gary my first month out in the Santa Barbara territory when I was working for this company up in the Santa Barbara area. Gary was just a merchandiser at the time, and he happened to be my
merchandiser at the time.
What happened?
The merchandiser at the time.
The merchandiser?
The merchandiser at the time.
Oh, shit. Whatever, dude. I got a lot of merchandisers to listen to this podcast, all right?
Yeah, no, I think I was still pretty green at that time, yeah. I didn't get really good till I went to Simi Valley.
Oh, shit. My bad. My order's not good enough for you?
No, you guys were great. You guys taught me a lot, but I really cut my teeth with Mike and the guys out in Simi. That was some hard grinding out there.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, I met Gary out in Santa Barbara. He already knew our buddy Scott. That's right? You met him before you went to work for the company, right?
Oh, we grew up together, basically. I mean, we lived in the same neighborhood. He lived around the corner from me. I didn't really hang out with him. He's a couple years older than me, but I remember him as a kid. He was a chubby kid too. I was a chubby kid also, and I remember he always used to wear a Hulkamania shirt, like running around the neighborhood.
And that's exactly what his brother said on the podcast, that he always had like wrestling
Hulkamania.
T-shirts. Yeah, that's crazy.
I remember that about him. Then we came together back in high school. I was just a dropout. I didn't even go to high school at all. I finished through a secondary school, and then we met up in college at BC. So we started hanging out at BC. BC was the same thing as high school. Go to a couple classes, pick up some girls, and head to the park and hang out. So I didn't finish college. I didn't finish college now.
This guy. Well, I think girls are the reason why I stopped going to college myself.
Yeah, I think alcohol. See, alcohol was my calling back then too. So it was kismet. So I did alcohol back then, and I'm doing alcohol now.
This guy. What got you into merchandising?
Well, it's kind of a long story. I'll try to cut it down. So, I used to be in the strawberry industry. I used to be a shipping foreman, warehouse foreman, and I didn't speak Spanish. I spoke enough to speak to the guys, and I would have crews of 15 to 20 people. So it got my Spanish never got better. I didn't try. So I figured I'd find something new, and so I applied to a company that we both worked for, and then I also applied to Lockheed Martin. So I applied to both of those jobs. Lockheed was double of what I was going to make with you guys. But with Lockheed, I passed they had a security clearance, passed the security clearance, and I was still waiting back from our company. I was like, geez, what's going on? So I wanted to decide where I worked. I wanted to work, and I was waiting and waiting. And, I had done some dumb things when I was a kid, but it was all expunged. But I was like, well, maybe it shouldn't come back positive, but sometimes it does. So anyways, long story short, HR called me, and they're like, hey, why don't you come in for an interview? Interviewed. My uncle used to merchandise on the weekends to help put his kid through school. So, he told me what to say, what they like, etc. Went to the interview, and, they really talked about growing people and, development and, core values, stuff like that. And I really loved beer at the point. I mean, me and my wife at the time, which we're no longer together, we used to go to breweries every weekend. San Francisco, San Diego, New Mexico, anywhere we could find a brewery, we were there drinking, partying, whatever. And I really wanted to work in the beer industry. I was like, man, I'm going to meet some people, smart people and all this and that, craft beer nerds, everything. So I got offered the job, and it was half of what they're going to pay at Lockheed Martin. But I didn't want to go back into a warehouse, be stuck out there. I wanted to be out. So I didn't tell my wife at the time how much I was making. I didn't say anything. I just took the job, and yeah, that's how I started. I worked as many hours as I could. I offered every weekend. I offered every off day. When we were short, I worked. And anyway, so So seeing Scotty, I was merchandising up in Santa Barbara. I didn't know who the salesman was. I was just merching the store. And Scotty comes up to me. He goes, "Hey, what's up, dude?" I'm like, "Hey, what are you up to, man?" Oh, nothing. He's, "Oh, yeah, So I'm merching. I'm thinking he works at Bonds or whatever, And then he starts helping me build the display, and I'm looking at him like, okay, well, He's like, "No, this is." He goes, "You're working for me. This is my account. This is like, oh, no shit, huh?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So we're talking, and I was trying to get the display all perfect, and he just kicked the last case. He's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. It looks good. Let's go." So we went. We went about our day, and it was pretty cool. It was nice seeing Scotty. I hadn't seen him since college, and I had heard he was working for like a pizza company, doing some kind of pizza thing and these different things. So it was nice to catch up with Scotty because back in college he was rapping back then, and we would be in his car. I think it was like a Chrysler Sebring or something. And, he'd be bumping his music. I'm like, "Who's this?" He's like, "That's me." I'm like, "Dude, you sound like Method Man." He sounded like Method Man or Big Pun or something. I think it was more Big Pun. Bana, right? And so, anyways, yeah, it was nice to catch up with him. And then, we all started hanging out. Then I met you. Then I met Chris. And who was also there? Tracy?
There was Tracy, Chris, myself, and Scott.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so we, it was nice.
I like when you tell the story of your idea of what a salesman should look or drive or represent.
Yeah, you see, so my grandfather, he owns a liquor store in Santa Paula. So I mean, he bought that in the mid '70s, and when I was probably 12 years old, he had me in there working, stocking the shelves, stocking the beer shelves. I would try to be lazy and, front load like the Miller. Oh, back then Miller quarts were 99 cents. Out the door they're $1. So it was in the neighborhood. It was in the hood. So we used to sell cases of that a week, and I used to try to be lazy and push them in the front load them. And they'd be like, "No, you need to go to the back. You need to pull the cold ones out, put them in the front because they're not going to buy it if it's hot." Okay, so yeah, I knew I've been working in beer since I guess kind of back then, and I used to, when the salesmen would come in, they'd come dressed all sharp, and back then it was laptops, and they'd have their polos and slacks, and they'd be giving away stuff. I'd always like, "Oh, get the Beer Wolf stuff." Back then, Coors Light had the Beer Wolf. Do you remember the Beer Wolf?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember this stuff all the way back to Spuds McKenzie, Beer Wolf. Like, it was cool. Like Miller Genuine Draft, when that came out, I remember when that came out. I remember when Modelo came out. I remember we would have a case on the shelf at a time, and that was it. Negro Modelo, same thing. We would sell a few 6-packs here and there. It would, just sat there, because no one really knew it. And that was 95, 95, maybe 93 in there.
Damn.
So, well, I mean, I've been in there earlier since the earliest 90s, but when I remember Modelo was probably about 95, and yeah, it was just the cans of Modelo.
Yeah.
I don't even remember if they had the gold top foil bottles back then. So yeah, I've been in beer kind of since then. So anyways, with the salesman thing, you see people, you hear one of the good salesmen was my dad's friend, and he's always throwing money around, and you buy beer for everybody. My grandpa's liquor store was kind of like a bar, so all his buddies they go in the back, and they would go chill in the cooler and drink. So these guys would be drinking. We closed at 8:00, closed early, and they would be drinking there till like 11 p.m. or something. My aunt would have to come pick up my dad because he'd be all tossed, and we'd go home. But anyways, so I had this idea of salesmen thinking like, "Oh, they drive Mercedeses, they dress nice, they have money, they're throwing stuff around, they're giving us swag." Then when I went and work with you guys, it's kind of the same idea. I was like, "Oh, this guy probably is, they're dressing in their nice, their Modelo polos and their slacks and their dress shoes, and they got their iPads, and he's probably driving a Mercedes, a Beamer, some kind of luxury vehicle outside, Jaguar, I don't know." So that's the idea of this wealth and spending and throwing money around. Promo girls, like promo girls in your arm and Vons. I don't know. This is the idea I had thought. Oh yeah, because my dad's buddy would would bring in promo girls, and
Oh, okay.
I was a little fat kid, just like wow, So I had this large idea what a salesman was.
The reason.
So when you had told me about hey, I have a problem with my car. Can you come outside and did you want me to jump it or whatever?
My battery died.
Outside, and you were sharp. You used to dress sharp. You were always buttoned up, shirt tucked in, and slacks, shoes, whatever. There's some salesmen that got a little sloppy out there, but you're always buttoned up and presentable. So I'm going outside. I'm like kind of looking around. It was like 5:30 in the morning, whatever. I'm looking for like Mercedes, a BMW, or something, and I'm looking around the parking lot, and I see you. Put your hand up, and I see this like 1992 multicolored Civic hoopty right there. And I'm like looking around, like, okay, where's his car at? And I had like a red bumper and a green this and a black that, and it was pretty multicolored.
It was.
And, so I was like, okay, well, because I was kind of ashamed of my car at the time because I had like a 1992 truck or something. So I was like kind of embarrassed what I had. I was like, oh, this guy's got a hoopty too, so cool. So
did we just become best friends?
Yeah, we just become best friends. So I went up to you. I was like, okay, you want the jumper cables or whatever? You're like, no, we're gonna push start it. I'm like, dude, there's like no hill or anything around here. What are we gonna do? And you helped me at least. I've been in the situation where the person's just sitting in the car and I'm behind pushing, trying to get it going. So I don't know how we got it fast enough to pop start it, but we did, and you were on your way.
Just drove off, just waved goodbye, didn't even stop or anything. I just later.
Goodbye, see you later. Yeah, where's my lunch? I was expecting at least a salesman lunch or something,
Dude,
take his merchandiser out for breakfast.
I don't know why. I think it was the battery, dude, or the alternator wasn't charging properly. But I remember one time I took that car to wash, and it was my daughter and myself. We went to just like those hand wash yourself places. We were listening to the radio, and the time it took us to dry it and clean it and everything, the battery freaking died. So my daughter will tell you that 13 years old, she pushed that car by herself while her dad sat inside. Jumpstart the bad boy. She pushed that herself.
That's a mission right there, especially with you in the car. You're not like 5'5" or nothing.
Nope, didn't even help her, dude. She freaking she pushed. I actually missed that car, dude. I miss driving stick, dude. I miss.
I love stick. I had a VW Jetta, and I didn't know how to drive stick, so when my ex-wife had bought it, I was like, can you teach me to drive stick? So once I learned how to drive stick, oh man, I love driving that car. It was stick is fun, it is fun to drive.
The only reason why I learned how to drive stick is because I bought the car and I had the car. Okay, there it was a 1991 Honda Accord. I love those cars, dude. It was a 1991 Honda Accord, 2-door, EX, sunroof, everything, dude. And I'm like, fuck it, I have the car. Might as well learn how to drive it.
Yeah. So that was always my issue with work in a car was like, okay, am I going to buy a nice car and put a bunch of miles on it and devalue it, or am I going to buy a hoopty and possibly get stuck outside at work somewhere at some time?
Well, that hoopty took me to Santa Barbara for about a year, 6 months, maybe 6 months to a year, and it did its job, man. And then I went ahead and bought my new, well, to me it was new car. It was a 05 CRV, and then that thing, I bought it was, like 100 miles, 100,000 miles. Dude, that thing is pushing
That's not bad for that age.
That's pushing 300 right now because for 3 years I drove it to Santa Barbara, 140 miles average a day. So yes, working in this business, it'll freaking drain your car. Beautiful thing right now is that I live on my route, so I'm lucky to barely hit 25 miles a day because, I'm right here.
That's good. Yeah, and in the long run, it's better to drive less. Like you were saying, I would drive probably about less than 2,000 a month. I would average anywhere between 1,500 to 1,800 miles.
Yeah.
Depending on where I clocked in and where I clocked out and stuff like that.
Well, the beautiful thing about driving to Santa Barbara, they always start at your miles from La Conchita. So
right, you know what? You are correct. Yeah.
So that's why you were clocking in only 18, but I guarantee you the odometer said way more than 18.
Oh yeah, I mean I was driving to Thousand Oaks at the time, we were living in Ventura. My daughter went to school in Thousand Oaks, so I would drive to Thousand Oaks in the morning,
Damn.
drop her off at school, come back to Ventura all the way to Santa Barbara, finish my route, go back to the after school program in Newbury Park, pick my kid up, come all the way back down the grade again.
Damn.
So I did that for 2 years. Yeah, I had bought a Honda Accord, and it was a year old, 20,000 miles, something like that. Nothing, save some money, not buying it new. And I killed that car literally in less than 3 years. The transmission went out, so that's how quick I put miles on that. I bought it with about 20. I put about 130 on it. So
I am so grateful that my car has managed to survive 5 years of me doing this shit. I mean, the worst thing that's happened to it is I think the alternator gave out one day, or the starter gave out one day.
Starters give out. You know why? Because we're in and out of stores all
And
day.
we're starting. Yeah. So
yeah, that's I was like, you know what? It makes sense that my starter went out, because my starter went out also.
I remember one day out here already on this route, out here in Azusa, the starter in my car went out, and I hit up one of my buddies. He actually been on the podcast already. Chris, if you're listening, fucker. He came and bought me lunch, but left me there. He's like, "I'll buy you lunch," but I'm like, "Dude, can you?" I'm like, I literally started walking to my next account, and I call my boss, and my boss is like, "Dude, just call them and see if they even need an order." And I'm like, "Well, I can do that, I guess." And back then, I didn't have an Uber account or anything, so my wife came. Luckily, I was nearby. My wife came, AAA, grabbed the car. She took me home, and then got it fixed the next day, back to work. Like I said, luckily, I've been so grateful that the only thing that's broke major damages, it's that I've had the motor mounts replaced, but it's not like the motor mounts left me stranded once. They haven't.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, I've gone through a couple batteries, starter, alternator, transmission. And I think tires, of course, you had tires, you burn through tires quick, and just oil. I try to do my oil every 5,000. I didn't wait for the 7 or 10, whatever, depending on your car. I would try to do it every 5. But I'm not like a car person, and like the dude where I got my transmission fixed is like, how often do you change your transmission fluid? I'm like, I don't change my transmission fluid. He's like, well, that's what happened. He goes, you need to change it every 30,000 miles. I was like, oh, well, I have 150 now. So, so well, next to me, no.
Oops. I better get on that then myself.
Yeah.
But anyways, dude, when's the last time I saw you, bro, in person, man?
Scotty's funeral, I would guess.
Scotty's funeral? Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Good old Scotty. It's been over 2 years now, right?
It's been 2 years already, yeah. It's been 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I went and visited him on his, the day after his passing away. So I think it was March 10th.
He passed on March 11th.
March 11th, yeah. So I went and saw him on 12th.
Yeah, we
took him a couple beers.
Yeah. We went down.
He likes,
Right. We went down there that weekend, this year, until the weekend, because I can't just go on a Thursday. We went that Saturday and hung out with a couple of the guys that are out there, Adam and Forrest and freaking Evan. Had breakfast with them at Cafe 126 and his favorite spot. But you also before he passed, you also came with us to the Lagunitas Beer Festival, right? Or the circus?
Yeah, we went. I think we all went to the beer circus, right? Is that?
Yeah.
I've gone like 2 or 3 times. It's fun. Yeah, I remember the time I went with you and Scotty. It's a long day. Because we were quote unquote VIP. I had figured like, there's going to be a booth where we can eat and stuff.
I thought they were going to feed us too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't eat. We didn't come prepared or anything like that. So we were starving after, and then we went to the spaghetti company, correct?
I think it's called the Old Spaghetti Factory.
The Old Spaghetti Company. Old Spaghetti Factory. There you go. Yeah. Back in the days when my ex-wife, when we would pass through there, we would always see that. Be like, oh, hey, we need to eat there, or try it out, whatever. So we were right there. So like, hey, okay, let's finally eat there. So I remember we had all went, we ate, and I I was a habitual money spender back then, so I apparently I overblew my budget that month, and I pulled out my credit card to pay our bill, and she came back. She goes, "Oh, sir, it's declined." I'm like, "Oh, okay. You know what? We're far away from home. You know, the credit card company's just not letting it go through." So I pull out another one. Try this one. Yeah, she came back about 2 or 3 times, and yeah, apparently I had no money anywhere. So I think Scott, did you or Scotty have to flip the bill for me?
Yeah. For like what? Your
guys?
wife? Well, you said your ex-wife.
Yeah,
Was
no, she
so,
was super. Yeah, she was super embarrassed.
Oh yeah.
She made fun of me for a while.
How can you
Oh,
be?
man.
How can you be broke on the on-premise money, bro? You made bank.
Yeah, I know. You know what? But there was times what I had found out. Well, what my old trainer taught me, Mike, he goes, you can slam a incentive 1 month, but he goes, dude, once they see that you're making too much money this way, that's going to go away next month, and they're going to put something smaller on the table. So he goes, like, go after it, but unless it's like a one-shot deal, don't go too hard, because next month it will not be there. And when rotators first came in, selling 1 keg at a time, back then, we had the hot brands like Lagunitas, Ballast Point, all the San Diego stuff. So I used to be able to sling those easy. And I would go on an account and, sell 5 half barrels at $20 each for me. And I was making about 18 to 2,000 a month just on rotators, and no one else was making that kind of money. And Mike's, they had came up to me like, hey, you're making too much on these rotators. Maybe can you sell some permanent handles? I'm like, well, this is the business the way it is right now. With this brands, with Modelo and stuff like that, those are going to be full-time handles. But craft beer, they want to switch it up and have something new for the customers every week. So yeah, it was a bad month apparently for me that month.
Yeah,
I was broke.
pretty bad.
Or rent, like we were living in Ventura at the time, and we had moved from Santa Paula, from where I was born, paying $1,500 for a three-bedroom house, and we had moved to Ventura, and we were paying close to $3,000 for a 3-bedroom apartment. So, yeah, it was a big change in money. So that's probably all rents do: pay the rent and be broke.
Yeah, I don't miss that.
Yeah, it was ups and downs in the salesman thing. You had to really like you used to tell me, Scotty would grab you guys and be like, okay, hey, you sit down, you guys all get together, you guys figure out what you're going to knock out in the packet. Like, okay, this is
As a
incentive
team,
packet.
yeah.
Work on this is, as a team, you got your team goals, you got your house goals, you got your, own personal goals. He would, sit down and go with you. Okay, I'm going to knock this out. Get your store list. Say, okay, I'm going to send this here, this here, this here. This is going to cover me to make the qualifier, and then anything after the qualifier, you get your bonus, whatever. And yeah, that's one thing he taught me well. Also, Mike taught me that even better. He was one of the biggest earners in the company, so I learned from him. Yeah, how to work the incentive packet and get paid, because my old boss told me when I got hired, he's like, there's 2 people you can be. He goes, you can either be Paul or you can be Mike. You can make 30,000 or you can make 90,000. He goes, it's up to you. It's all the money's all on the table. I go, all right, man. I go, you got it. And yeah, man, I went after it, and I made a lot of money. You pay a lot of money in taxes, which I didn't even know. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get 6,000, get 5,000. Government takes what, I don't know, half of it. My whole hourly check would at least go to taxes, or I don't even.
That's what I
really know.
I recently told my boss, I'm like, hey man, because he was like, I guess somebody complained about the incentives weren't right and stuff, and I told my boss,
Yeah.
hey, I used to count every penny before, and then not get what I counted. So I got to the point where if you guys give me an incentive, to me that's free money, and it's a blessing, and I'll take whatever it is you give me. And it's like, what? But it's, if we make a mistake, Andres, it's your money. I understand it's my money, but I'm not gonna sit here and cry over freaking pennies. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna cry for something if I didn't count it right. I didn't count it right. So you'll never hear me say, hey, I was supposed to make this much because this is what I counted. I'm not. What if I'm wrong? And then I'm gonna look like the idiot. So yeah, I mean, to me, I managed to pay the bills with hourly rate. Everything that comes in extra for incentives. That last weekend, I mean, I took my daughter for last weekend, my daughter came in town and I spoiled the hell out of her because I had that incentive money. We walked Knott's we walked the freaking shops at Knott's and then took her to this pizza place. Freaking $100 bill, boom, not a problem. And
sounds like Rusty's.
No.
What's the place in Ventura?
No, Toppers. No. This place is
it's super expensive. I remember me, my stepdaughter, and myself had went in there, and my daughter. It's just 3 of us. I ordered like a small pizza for them, and then I ordered my own pizza.
Yeah.
And a couple beers. That was like $100.
Yeah. No, this place is a family-owned business. I actually had the son on the podcast in the beginning of me doing this, and Papa Joe's Pizza is amazing, homemade, freaking customer service. And man, with us in customer service, bro, you learn to appreciate other customer service. Yeah. And I mean, like, this customer service is way better than the pizza. Pizza's amazing, but his customer service is wonderful. But
I mean, that's what I always look like for, when I go to a bar or a restaurant, whatever. I mean, I was on the on-premise, so I understand the work they do and how they depend on their tips, but I also understand the quality of the service. If I'm at a restaurant and I'm getting shitty quality, the tip is going to be smaller, but I usually do large tips because I appreciate them and also understand that that's their livelihood, especially now during the pandemic. A lot of people were out of work for months on the end, and they're still not even caught up. No one is. Basically, only the people that worked straight through. But definitely tipping is huge. So customer service is huge.
Yeah,
we learned, customer service is a majority of our business, because if we don't give our customers our own customer service, we're not getting that placement, that handle, that extra SKU, that item that he doesn't want but we need. That's where the customer service comes in.
Yeah,
100%.
So you've said 3 times your ex-wife, bro.
Yeah. So I mean, kind of like our theme of today would be, a job is a job and a career is a career. But at the end of the day, don't let either one overtake possibly your family life or your priorities. I think that's what I learned. I used to grind out there. Like, people say, oh, I'm a grinder, I'm a hustler, I'm an entrepreneur. They say all these different things. But we literally have to go and get after it. If you're not aggressive, or if you're not an alpha, or you're not this, you're not that, you're not getting it done. So you would see the other side, our competition. They worked more on, hey, well, we give you this, we give you customer service. We worked more on, well, you're going to get the best beer, and an aggression. So that's where I learned that at. I worked in the Simi Valley with the Mike. He taught, well, this is what it was. I was a merchandiser, and they said, you want to work with the best salesman so he can teach you. When I became a relief sales rep. So when I became a relief, we were at a company party, and someone told me, well, Mike is one of the best. Him and Charlie are the best. So I went and talked to Mike, and I go, hey, you know what? I want to work with you. I want to teach me, So he's like, we talked for a while. He was like, all right, dude. He goes, I'm going to talk to my boss, and I'm going to bring you on. So I went and worked with Mike for a year solid. I mean, we worked from 4 a.m. till 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. I mean, and that guy didn't eat. He smoked cigarettes and Red Bulls all day. So that was our food. We would pull up to a stop, smoke a cigarette, go in, talk with the owner, smoke a cigarette, come out, smoke a cigarette, drive to the next stop, smoke a cigarette. It was, hopefully he's doing okay with that. I think he quit, hopefully. But, anyways, so a big part of our job is aggression and hard work and, being number one or trying to be number one and beating the person next to you, beating the guy on your team, beating the guy on the other team. Hitting the numbers, so I worked with Mike, and he taught me all about that, and I got super aggressive, and I got super motivated, and so I had applied for a few salesman's jobs, didn't get them. They're like, dude, keep trying. We got a plan for you. We got a plan for you. I'm like, all right. So that plan finally came to fruition, which was the on-premise, which I knew nothing about. But they're like, you know the most about beer out of everybody, so that's where you're needed. So okay, cool. So I applied for the position, got the job, started in Santa Barbara, back in Santa Barbara with you guys.
Yeah,
so
back with us.
I started in Santa Barbara and I ended in Santa Barbara. So I went out with you guys, replaced this previous guy. He was really timid, good guy, great guy, still a friend to this day, but he was timid and he got nothing done out there. So everything was ripe for the picking when I went out there, especially with the brands we were selling at the time. So I went out there and I crushed it. And being part of the on-premise it's not about, making a presentation. It's not about, showing them facts. It's not about, pricing is always a consideration, but on-premise is friendship. Your buddies, you're not walking in the account to see your owner or whatever. You're going in the account to see your buddy. So the first thing you walk in, you give his, you shake his hand, you sit down, toss back a shot or whatever, That was kind of one of those gray areas at work. But I mean, that's what being his buddy, sitting there, having a beer, talking, BSing, talking about even other brands of beer that you enjoy, just talking about anything. And then, that's when the sales pitch comes in. Yeah. It's not even like, well, let me, see some stuff or anything like that. He goes, okay, what's the price? Oh, okay. 175, send it. That was the on-premise was becoming their friend. So the first year I was out there, I would work 12, 13, 14-hour days. And it really put a lot of stress on our family. And but, the money started rolling in. So that was a plus. But, I never really communicated because I was so tired. You get tired working out there. And as a merchandiser, I would work 10, 12 hours, go home, work out another 2 hours, and then be bright and fit and like cool, But being the stress of a salesman is when your load is heavy, you got weight on your shoulders, you got goals, you got this, you got that, and that's when you don't. Even though you're half as tired as merchandising, you don't have the energy to go work out because you're mentally
drained.
Your ass is kicked,
Yeah.
And you're eating bad food, you're drinking bad beer, you're getting fat around the waist, you have high stress, and then you're getting the cortisol, then you're getting the tire around you gain that salesman 20, and so stuff starts compounding, and what the thing that happened to me was I always wanted to be the best. I always wanted to beat everybody, beat as many people as I can, make as much money as I can. And I put that first over my family. Even though my family was always first, I never communicated that. So that became a problem. I always thought she understood why I was doing this, but I never communicated. So through the multiple years that I was out there, my relationship deteriorated, and we got a divorce. So yeah, that's where I am with that. And now that I look back on it, I should have focused more on my family and less on the job because I'm not even there anymore. And, you're just a number. That's basically my gist of it. But, there was always people in my ear. There was a person, probably one of the best people I ever met where we used to work, JR, and he would always tell me, like, dude, oh, well, this is the thing. He was my draft pick, so I'd call him. Call him. He wouldn't pick up. I'm like, dude, where you at? I'm like, I'm calling you. He's like, easy. And he'd always call me easy money. Easy money. He goes, easy. Relax. I'm having lunch. Me at that point, I'm like, dude, I need to answer the phone, fix this draft line. We need to get it done. That was the mode I was in. Like, forget about food. Eat when you're ready. We need to fix this draft line. Where you at? Or I would call him, like, because he worked out of Ventura. I was in Santa Barbara, and sometimes he would come to Santa Barbara, and I'd be like, okay, he's still here. I'm going to send him over here before he leaves. But he knew I would call him before he left. So he would do what he was, scheduled to do that day, nothing else. Unless it was like something tragic, like a huge account, draft lines are down. He would do it. So I would call him like with a small problem. And I knew he wouldn't pick up. Then he would pick up in Ventura. I go, oh, shoot, are you still around? He's like, nah, easy. I'm in Ventura. I'm like, damn it. I go, why don't you pick up the phone while he's like, I can't pick up the phone while I'm driving. And that was always his good excuse. And I was like, damn it, because I can't, you're not supposed to pick up the phone while you're driving. So he would always get me there. But anyways, he would tell me like, dude, work is work. He goes, clock in, clock out, go with your family. I'm like, nah, man. Like, even on the weekends, even in the nights, the weeks, when I was off the clock, phone rings, I pick it up. Oh, dude's texting me for a price, 11, 12 o'clock at night. Text him back. I was on my phone 24/7, 7 days a week. Always on, always available. And he would be like, and I would attempt to call him on the weekends. He would never pick up. But, I would drive to Santa Barbara on the weekends and fix something because I knew, you know what, I didn't have to do it. At the end of the day, I didn't have to do it. The account would survive. They have 15 other beers they're selling. But back then, I'd be like, okay, I'll be there in an hour. Give me an hour. I'd jump in my car and I'd go.
Yeah.
But he would tell me like, hey, it's easy, just go home. Be with your family, man. And he lived a very humble life. Then he made decent money, good money. But, it wasn't about like buying all these fancy things, spending all this fancy money and going to these fancy places. Things like that are fine and they're fun. But, he was an islander. So I don't want to like stereotype anybody, but I think they value family even more, because he had a chance to go pro in football. And, he gave me all his stats and everything. He loves football. And he had a chance to go pro, but he was from the islands. And when he was here in America, he was away from his family, and he couldn't take that in college. So he went back home with his family. So I guess, yeah. So, instead of going pro or whatever, he went home. So I can respect that. And he would tell me like, oh, he'd call his wife, hey, mama, what's for dinner tonight? And so he would tell me these things, and I would brush it off. Not till later. Sort of had problems and everything, but we were still friends and everything when we were working, and I started realizing the things he was saying. And I was like, you know what, dude, this dude's right, Did I put it into practice at that time? No, probably not. But, I really learned about family and values and just like appreciating what you have at that time, because I think he had a granddaughter or something that passed away. And, it's horrible, You can only imagine the pain. So, I really learned a lot from Junior.
I remember when I first started I still
text him once in a while. Mm-hmm.
When I first took the Santa Barbara route and I was spending a lot of time out there, I know it was starting to affect the family, because I know one time the wife and I kind of got into a discussion, and then I just remember snapping at her and telling her, this is who you married. You married a salesman, right? But she was like, no, that's not who I married. I married the guy that's been there for his kids. I married the guy that would do whatever it took for his kids. If his pickup time with the kids was at 3, you were there 15 minutes early to pick them up, and you would drop them off on the dot. You spent every minute with your kids. That's who I married. I didn't marry the guy that's freaking out there selling beer and shit. So, sometimes out here, I feel guilty not clocking out of my 8 hours, but if I feel that I got stuff done, I clock out and I go home. And like I recently told my kids, traveling salesmen are out there and they're gone away from their family for months at a time, weeks at a time. Like even the guys that work in the oil rigs, how can they? I couldn't see myself being away from my kids for 2 weeks, dude. Alone when
I used to work out there also in the oil rigs back in maybe 2000, 2001, and when I first started out there, I was young and making good money, really good money. And we would work 3 weeks on, 1 week off. But all the OGs out there, the guys that would work for Chevron or Shell, or I worked for a third party company. Those guys that were like company men. And I would talk to them once in a while, and those guys are making 100,000, 150,000, depending on your job. Tool pusher, 175. There was people out there probably making $250,000 a year. Yeah, huge money. Everybody needs gas. Everybody needs oil.
But how long were they away from their family?
They were some people would stay out there months. Some people would do one on, one off. But every person, not every person, but a lot of the guys out there I knew were getting divorced.
Yeah.
Because they were just never home. There was a guy that I had seen maybe about 10 years ago, and I knew him for probably about 20. We would all bunk together in the same room. There's about 4 of us, and there'd be the night shift in there, 2 at a time. Then the day shift would be working, and then we'd switch. So we'd come into our room, and he had his baby daughter, plastered all over his bed and all that stuff. At that time, I was just single by myself, and I had seen him at a record store or something. I was like, "Hey, dude, how you doing, man? How's everything? How's your daughter?" He's like, "Oh, I don't have a daughter." I go, "Well, dude, I remember you used to have the pictures of your baby everywhere." He's like, "That wasn't my baby." He goes, "That was my wife was screwing somebody else." I was like, "Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that, man." So yeah, those stories are very common, and being away that long all the time definitely puts stress on your family.
Yeah.
I worked out there and I was single. I didn't have a girlfriend. I would work 3 weeks, come home, party my ass off for however many days, go to the club, go to the bars, clubbing every weekend, go blow all my money, pay my bills, and go back out there broke for another 3 weeks. But you were 100%. Everything was free out there.
Yeah.
You're eating lobster, you're eating steak, you're eating everything good. 3 squares a day. People wash your clothes, make your bed. So everything is cigarettes,
nice.
Whatever. It's a cool life if you're single. But if you're a married man, then it's not for you. Definitely.
No, yeah, like
same thing with the on-premise. I'm not going to say you can't be married. You just really need to prioritize what your priorities in life are. But my old boss told me, he goes, "Hey, dude," he goes, "you're going to get a divorce with this job, right?" I'm like, "No, dude." I'm like, "I know what I'm doing, And now I got consumed, because he told me that they wanted him to go out there first, but he wanted to become an ASM, and he was their first choice to send to the on-premise in Santa Barbara because we were getting our ass kicked out there. Because he would do well on his route with the small on-premise he had, so he was initially their first choice, but he wanted to become a manager. So when he didn't want that, then that's where I slid in.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, the on-premise is fun, but you get consumed by it. But now that I've been in it for so long, if I do go back, then I know how to prioritize my life. And towards the end, I was working 8-hour days. I wasn't out there 14 because I had put the time in, earn the relationships, and I could sit in my car and text all these dudes, be like, "Hey, I got this, send it," or "Nah, I'm good for the week." Where you didn't have to really sit there and have lunch with them or go through the whole thing. But it's fun, very fun. On my Instagram, my old Instagram got deleted, so I went back into my Google Photos and grabbed all my stuff and reposted it and put it back in my memories. So it's there, just something to see. The way we used to do things.
No, yeah, like I was saying earlier a little bit ago. Yeah, dude, I was having with the kids with traveling. I was talking to them about traveling salesmen and stuff, and how they're gone for weeks at a time or whatever. And with me is I was reminding them of all because they were obviously a lot smaller when I was driving to Santa Barbara. So I was reminding them how I was gone for literally freaking 2 hours, 3 hours of drive time that I was away from the family. Where now it's I'm here in freaking 5 minutes, and I'm here with them, even though we're not doing anything, but I'm here with them. We can be sitting on the couch and we're all just on our own phones, but I'm here with them. And, I don't miss those long drives, and, I don't miss being away from the family. And my family comes first. If I feel bad, I honestly, 8 hours and clock out, I don't feel bad. I get my job done. I get placements. I get a nice commission at the end of the month. So I think I'm doing my job. So I shouldn't feel guilty about leaving at my 8 hours. So, but yeah, man, I was almost on that same page with you. With you, it's the wife was getting frustrated. You're never home. You're coming home late. And, no, I had to, before, it became my, a divorce became my future. I snapped out of it and made family first. You know how they say, don't take it to work and don't bring it home.
Yeah, yeah. A while back, me and my ex tried to reconcile, and it's mid-pandemic or something like that. And I'm like, well, we were talking about what we're gonna do, and I think she's seen that I've grown to the point where I wouldn't be crazy like before. Like, oh well, why don't you go work for these guys? They pay well, and so I've came to that point to where I've gotten my excess partying under control, and what I need to achieve and what's most important in life. But yeah, that didn't work out anyways. But the on-premise is fun. If I were to get back into it, I'm looking around right now. I'm actually looking up north for our old competition. I mean, that's probably only who I could work for at this point, our supplier. I wouldn't mind working for a supplier. The money is less, but money isn't everything. You spend what you make, and I'm not consumed
money
with
comes and goes.
Yeah, money comes and goes. I mean, you can make 50,000, 100,000. It all spends the same, and at the end of the day, as long as your family's taken care of and healthy, it really doesn't matter. So I would possibly looking into a supplier job. You're out in the trade 4 days a week. You have your one admin day at home, and your schedule is super flexible. You have your account base, which can be hit at convenience. What you put into it is what you get out of it. So, it's not like, oh, this guy needs to order today, I have to be there. It's like, okay, I'm thinking about this guy because I think my product work over here, or, you're kind of planning it out differently. So I think that would be better for me in the long run, and see where that takes me.
Yeah.
I've also been interested in liquor. I love liquor. I love tequila. I collect tequila. I drink tequila. Well, I don't collect it because I drink it.
Is your password tequila?
Yeah, tequila 805 or something. I don't know. But that's my drink of choice right now. I'm drinking a lot of Palomas, and I'm drinking some tequila and soda water, or just straight shots. Walk up to the bar, take a shot.
This guy.
Yeah, I'll be heading out to Phoenix this weekend and drinking out there. So we'll see what's happening.
There you go. Well, Gary, I mean, you looks like you are trying to, learn from your mistakes, and that's what we all do. And that's what I like to have on my podcast, is people that move forward and learn from their mistakes. And, I mean, I haven't talked to you in a minute, and one day you just hit me up. You're all excited. Hey, can I be on your podcast? I got a story. You know what? Come on down. Yeah, everybody's welcome. Yeah. Anyone's welcome, man. So
I had to chase you down for a while, and then you had to chase me down this week, but we got it done.
What the hell, dude? You're making me kind of nervous, bro. But
I'm like looking at my text, like, shoot, that's on Trace. Like, what am I gonna say? Because long story short, my internet was down, and I thought it wasn't actually the provider having an issue. Apparently, at some point in the last 10 or 15 years since our wires got redone, there was rats up in the attic, which was a long time ago. So they must have chewed through the wire, and it finally corroded to the point where we weren't getting a signal.
Oh.
So I had the guy out here yesterday, and he's like, "You have rats?" I'm like, "Dude, like 15 years ago." And he's like, "Well, they chewed through the wire." So he replaced all the wire. Internet's tip top now. So
there you
that's
go.
Good.
Well, again,
I can't live without my YouTube.
There you go. Well, again, Gary, thank you for being on the podcast, bro, and like I end every podcast, buddy, thank you for riding with me.
Yeah, no, thank you. Let me give a shout out real quick. A shout out to Billy, my boy Billy, Philip. Who else? I ain't got many friends.
You can't give shout outs to people that don't listen to my podcast, bro.
They listen to it. Me and Billy we talk about your podcast all the time.
Oh, appreciate it.
Yeah, he'll be looking forward to this episode. You got Billy, Philip. Who else is out there? That's about it, man.
You tell them if they want to. You tell them if they want to be on. They got to hit me up. I'm done chasing people. I learned from you.
Yeah. You need to get Philip on here. Number one salesman out there.
But like I said, man, again, thank you for riding with me.
Thanks, buddy. You got it.
Thank you for listening to Ride With Me, the Flat Tire Indie Podcast. You can also listen to us on
iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean.